Terrarian in the Dungeon, Chapter 34b and 35, Fan Fiction by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. Lady Seshet, I don't know what was happening, but what was on that note you gave her? Bell asked a couple of minutes later. As we finished off our food, I was leaving some money to pay for all our food as well as a nice tip for the waitresses that had taken such good care of our table. Seshet smiled, but it wasn't a loving, kind, or even a joking smile. It was the smile of a cat who ate the canary in the most literal sense of the term. Oh, I just gave a lost mortal some divine inspiration. If Jake can recruit Hestia to man our stores so I can nap more often, then I can recruit a chef who can save us money on the packed meals that go into your dungeon meals. Seshet said proudly, like she actually accomplished something. I needed to spank my goddess again for being troublesome. Chapter 35. After we got home, Hestia and Bell each took one of the side rooms. I built that was a little bare in terms of decoration and furniture, but the rooms had beds and a dresser for their stuff while I needed to sit down with my goddess about what the hell is up with her messing with that cowgirl. So, Seshet wants to explain what is up with how you want to recruit that cow beastkin. We know literally nothing about her, and should we even get someone involved in the nonsense I am going to bring about, just by existing? I questioned the cat goddess. The only response I got for a moment was a smug, catty smile, but seeing my dull look, she finally spoke. Jake, frankly, we need a servant or someone to take care of us. We simply don't have the time to deal with cooking, cleaning, and all that other menial stuff when you spend half a day in the dungeon growing at ludicrous speeds admittedly, but the other half of the day you spend either crafting or creating lists of materials that you will need for crafting in the future. Seshet said strongly, and I grimaced at the truth of her words. I had spent literally hours a day reviewing my memories of the stronger Terrarian mods, the resources they would need, and obviously what path I should take my growth, as once I hit level 2 finally after a month or so of adventuring, I will be able to get Fargos, and that's when my strength will skyrocket due to being able to make all those enchantment accessories. But the crafting of those things was going to be an indescribable resource sink, thus I was trying to account for everything I needed. But still, we literally know nothing about her, and her being a cow beastkin in a sexy maid costume isn't a good enough reason to recruit her to your familia Seshet. Don't be a Loki. I added on, making her hold her chest as my statement shot into her chest like an arrow. But Seshet recovered and gave me another catty smile. Welp, too bad. This is reality. If I want to recruit new adventures, then I need to reach out to them, and as your goddess, your only response should be, awesome Seshet, thank you, oh great goddess of the sands and rituals. I always wanted a big-titted cowgirl maid to lewd at my leisure. Seshet said victoriously, as though the cringe-as-hell statement won this agreement, and I was going to begin clapping, thanking her for her wondrous foresight and cunning. Nope, I just pulled Seshet over my lap, and just like Riveria, the Loki familia and all the other leaders of familias here in Damachi did. I disciplined my deity with a spanking, even though mine was just by hand, whereas Loki typically got beaten over the head with a sword sheath or bonked by staffs when she was a pervert. Boo-hoo. Seshet cried, literally trying to ham it up and make me feel bad, but I could smell her reaction to me putting her in her place. That and her all but swinging her backside on my lap to encourage more made me roll my eyes. Well, I hope that set you straight, Seshet because dash. Before I could continue, Seshet cut me off. Wait, so all I have to do to earn a spanking from my big, strong captain is to recruit scantily clad girls who are already all but drooling over you due to carrying my mark? I closed my eyes and counted to 10 as I held in my ever-so-slight desire to smother the troublesome goddess with a pillow. I had to remember that all gods were down here in Tenkai for entertainment in the end. Sure, they fell in love with the mortals they attached themselves to and grew more human with their affection towards us. But in the end their mindsets were completely alien to us mortals. To say nothing of a goddess's mind as a bonus. Fine, Seshet. You can have this. Beatrice, girl, after you ask some questions about whether she plans to steal from or harm you, so I can hear her intentions. But in return, I am in charge of recruitment. I don't want a bunch of random people joining our familia, as I have plans, and our familia growing too large and having too many interests will harm that. I lay out, and Seshet sighed, looking at me like I was stupid. Jake, she wants the dick of a man who tamed a goddess. Your scent is literally a divine signboard saying, I am a perfect mate for strong children, to beastkin. She said flatly, making my eye twitch, but thankfully, she shrugged and continued. But I thought she would make a good little sub for you, as our lovemaking is more a competition than fight most of the time, as I buck against you. Either way, I accept your deal. I get a cute maid to take care of me and Hestia if she actually doesn't have any weird intentions. Seshet said, basically accepting my deal of being in charge of recruitment. I nodded, not exactly all too happy about it, but honestly, I needed to get over it. I likely wasn't going to be able to fill my familia with just the canon characters of note, but I still needed and wanted more familia members as the massive tower I made was extremely empty, to say the least. Like it or not, I needed other people as I literally couldn't trek all around Genkai hunting for certain ingredients like even common desert sand. The nearest desert was literally a whole week away from Ororio on the back of tamed wyverns that the Hermes familia had. So, if I wanted to get all the rare resources I needed, I had to play nice with everyone to an extent, as otherwise I couldn't create jack. Anywho. She should be here soon, let's go outside and meet her. Seshet said excitedly as she dragged me outside her shop, into the tower, and towards the tower's exit. Hold on, let me get the lava parted, I spoke as I took the remote out of my inventory and had the drawbridge system lower itself, which blocked the lava from flowing over the doorway, allowing us to freely exit the tower. I had an idea. I should get a massive amount of sand and turn it into glass and make a glass sphere around our property so we can fill the property with trees I can grow that are made literally out of gems. I said, just imagining people trying to break through the glass sphere with no success as they see the gem trees with fist-sized diamonds and other fruit-shaped gems hanging off them. Would be a good source of actual income, as I was all too aware that I was selling my weapons and accessories for ridiculously low prices, but in the end, I was selling them for connections and favor rather than profit. Where would you get that much sand? Actually, yeah, the river that leads to Melon and the sea would have plenty. Seshet shrugged as we walked outside our tower, and I took in the star-filled sky above us as night had long fallen while our familias had walked home together. Me and Seshet just generally made some conversation, with the main bit being the whole boss party bash that was set to happen in a couple days, with several familias going to one of Orario's surrounding old fortresses to fight the summoned boss monsters so their level 1s and 2s could level up. But I was going to have a surprise for them. I was all but ready to create the Eye of Cthulhu spawn item, as well as the Eater of Worlds, along with Brain of Cthulhu spawn items. See Jake, even hours later, she came here knowing what was offered. Seshet spoke as we both clearly saw Beatrice clad in her somewhat revealing maid uniform walking towards our tower and us by extension. Obviously, she was nervous as her first words showed that clearly. Hello. I am here, I guess. She spoke unsurely and Seshet grinned seeing her look so demure. Hello, dearie, this is just a precaution as our familia shop is here, but to clarify, you don't have any goals to steal or harm us, do you? Seshet asked straightforwardly. Oh, dear gods in heavens, absolutely not. I have never harmed anyone outside of an accident, and I have zero interest in committing crimes or even fighting. Beatrice said strongly, and if anything, Seshet's grin grew even larger as she looked at me. Well, Jake, go get her. She said, pushing me towards Beatrice in a matching method of how she pushed my face into the shy cow beastkin's large breasts. But this time, as she pushed me, I only had the shorter girl's face pressed into my chest, and I could audibly hear her inhale my scent as she leaned into me with her body molding against myself. All I could think as I felt the girl's temperature literally rise while against me was, I needed to find out Damage's contraceptive measures, otherwise I was likely to have a litter or something.